Welcome back to another episode of Dreading. Or if this is your first time here, hey. Today we're going to be revisiting our coverage of the Dateline NBC series To Catch a Predator, this time reviewing the case footage of Kenneth Brinkman. The footage was of course originally uploaded by Joey's TCAP channel, which will be linked down below should you want to watch the footage without our commentary. I'll also be linking other channels that upload similar videos, as the community that covers this show is incredibly entertaining. With all of that said, if there's a topic you would like us to cover or a story you want to bring more attention to, let me know by emailing me at dreading.official@gmail.com. I'm still consistently going through the inbox and adding your suggestions to my list of stories to cover. Though it may take some time, I promise I'm doing my best to cover your suggestions as quickly and respectfully as possible. So, with all of that said, let us begin. Kenneth Brinkman was a 43-year-old successful manager of the audit department for a popular gas station chain when he showed up on police radar. But based solely on the behavior he would exhibit during his time engaging with the perverted justice decoy, it seemed unlikely that this was his first time talking with someone he believed to be a minor. In the chat logs from his conversations, Ken was exceptionally careful when talking to the decoy, immediately asking if the account was run by a cop or attempting to make the minor responsible for the conversation. Before the chat turned overtly sexual, Kenneth would directly ask the boy if he was comfortable talking to someone who was old enough to be his father, and if he believed they were old enough to talk to each other sexually. Through those questions alone, Kenneth was attempting to manipulate the minor. He was catering to the would-be adolescent's ego by treating him like a peer, something that most teens are hungry for. He wasn't telling the boy what was going to happen, the way an adult authority figure should, but asking him for his input. Again, Kenneth was made to believe that he was talking to a 14-year-old, a child who had little to no control over their life. If they wanted to hang out with their friends, they would have to ask their parents, and of course ask them for a ride, and they'd only be allowed to stay as long as their parents would allow them to. They can't so much as decide what they're going to have for dinner, and would jump at the chance to have some kind of control over their lives. Kenneth, the predator, knows that, and immediately starts over-validating him. That lone action would make the potential teen feel valued, special, and like Kenneth actually cares for him, even though Ken is just talking to him for his own sexual gratification. By repeatedly asking for the decoy's input about their sexual conversations, he's communicating to the minor that they are responsible for what is happening, that this situation is illegal and wrong when depicted on television. But because they are the one who wants it, Kenneth is just being a nice guy for not turning him down. Oftentimes, the end result of the specific kind of grooming is the minor feeling as if they were the one in the wrong. If the chats were found, or their predatory relationship was ever made public, the minor would try to defend the predator, stating that he had done nothing wrong and everything was their fault. They would say things like, "I pursued him," or "he tried to say no, but I eventually wore him down," and the like. But when actually examining the conversations, that is never really the case. While it's commonplace for minors and teenagers to have crushes on adults in their lives, it's up to the adult to again ensure the child's safety and well-being. To be absolutely abundantly clear, if you, an adult, are told that a minor has an inappropriate feeling towards you, feelings, they have the one feeling. So you're told that a minor has inappropriate feelings towards you. There are a plethora of ways that you can appropriately react to that. If you're a teacher, you can inform the school. You can make notes about the minor's actions, and make sure that you're never alone with them. You can tell their parents, set up cameras in your classroom just for safety, and if their behavior escalates, remove them from your class. Or if you're Kenneth, given that all of their communication was online, all he had to do was simply block the decoy and move on. He faced absolutely zero real-world consequences by not talking to this fictional child, but instead, 43-year-old Kenneth would deliberately and purposely push the conversation to be sexual. It should also be noted that Kenneth was talking to whom he believed to be a 14-year-old boy who stated that he was still in the closet, meaning that his sexuality was not something that was publicly known. The decoy would state that he was nervous to come out, and Kenneth would utilize that fact in order to prey on him even further. Unfortunately, this is a relatively common tactic used by predators. If your victim is someone who is already struggling with something they think is abnormal, like their sexuality, they're unlikely to come forward against you, because they would be outing themselves. After chatting for 5 days, the decoy would tell him that their parents were actually going to be leaving for a weekend trip to Vegas. The two would talk about potentially meeting, with Kenneth asking if the fictional 14-year-old would be willing to, quote, sneak out for a BJ, unquote. Like before, Ken repeatedly told the decoy that even though he was the adult in the situation, that he knew what he was doing was illegal and meeting up with the child would get him arrested, that he was only doing this because they wanted him to, that if he lost his job, got divorced, and went to prison, that would of course be the minor's fault, which would obviously terrify them into compliance. but thankfully in this instance, no child was actually involved. The following footage was compiled and made public by Joey's TCAP channel here on YouTube. Without them, again, channels like ours would not exist, so consider supporting them if you can. A link will be left downstairs should you be so inclined.
Come on in, man. I just whacked my toe on the banister. Oh my gosh, I just whacked the crap out of myself.
You what?
I hit my toe on the banister. Oh, I gotta go get a Band-Aid. Now I'm bleeding, and I'm gonna get shot if I bleed on the rug.
Oh, no.
Hold on, hang out at the bar for a second. I'll be right back down, all right?
Okay.
Cool. Hey, Ken.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming out here, man.
Okay, cool.
I was having, such a crappy night. I'm sorry that, you got all weirded out when you saw me the first time.
Well, it wasn't I got weirded out. I thought I couldn't see a address. I mean, I seen it on the mailbox.
Yeah, it's totally, weirded out, isn't it?
Kenneth immediately makes himself at home inside the Sting House, which is of course a really odd sight, and not one that we usually see. The men who are usually caught in these stings know that what they are attempting to do is illegal. They know that they could be walking into a trap, and for the most part, their behavior tends to align with that scenario. They're not overtly comfortable, they're visibly nervous, and they often come across as a bit awkward, but not Kenneth. Kenneth enters the Sting House, and without being told, immediately takes off his shoes and makes himself at home. He wanders around the living area, discarding his jacket, and calling up to the decoy as if he was meeting an old friend, not a fucking 14-year-old he spent nearly a week grooming. He's more comfortable in this environment than we have seen other predators being, and that is not a great sign if this was actually his first time.
Anyway, sorry. I found a Band-Aid. I'll be right back down. I just have to wipe it off or else I'm going to get an infection. Have you ever got one of those ingrown toenails?
Yeah.
I got one once and it hurt so freaking bad.
How are you, sir?
It was at this moment that Kenneth realized he fucked up. I'm kidding, but also not really. So this is Kenneth's absolute nightmare scenario. He always knew that there was a chance that he would walk into a trap, but he believed, like every predator we have covered thus far, that he was different than they were. He's not like other predators. Those men were all caught because they were stupid, or because they didn't ask the right questions. He wasn't some careless amateur stumbling into a sting operation. He was a smarter, sharper, more calculated predator. At least, that's what he told himself. It's the same cognitive bias that makes reckless drivers insist that they're the safest ones on the road, or habitual liars believe that they can, quote, read people better than anyone else. He believed he could sense danger before it ever reached him. He told himself that if anything felt off, he'd know immediately. But he didn't. I mean, he thought he could, and look where that got him. He apparently isn't some super predator who can outclass the law. He's just some guy. The same way every other person caught in these stings is also just some guy. The moment his eyes met Hansen's, his ego would be completely shattered. Kenneth realized that he wasn't the master manipulator anymore. He was, of course, now being manipulated himself.
Okay.
Why don't you do me a favor and have a seat on the stool right on the other side of the bar there? Please go ahead, have a seat. Did you get yourself all comfortable? Or?
Sure.
What's going on?
Not much.
Why are you here?
Came to meet this gentleman.
This gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
And how old is the gentleman you came here to meet?
He told me that he was 15, I believe.
15? Do you want to try again?
That's what I remember.
How about 14?
This is something we've seen countless times amongst the predators we've covered, and it feels nonsensical every time. Kenneth knows the age of the boy he was trying to meet up with. He referred to it in the chat a number of times, and it was one of the reasons he began talking to the decoy in the first place. But to outright say that he came to his house to meet a 14-year-old would of course be deeply shameful and illegal, so he tries to make his actions seem less predatory by saying he was going to meet a 15-year-old instead. Kenneth's assertion feels doubly stupid at the very least. Other predators have lied and said they believed they were meeting an 18-year-old, or another adult who was simply role-playing that they were a minor. But Kenneth couldn't even think of an age that would have made his visit legal.
How old are you?
43.
43. And you came here to meet a teenage boy. Why?
I told him I was coming to meet and talk.
Just to meet and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your plan once you got here?
Meet and talk.
Just that.
Yeah.
And you thought that was appropriate for you as a grown man of 43 years old to come here to meet a teenage boy who was home alone.
I had my reservations.
So, despite what we said about how Kenneth viewed himself and the situation at hand before arriving at the Sting House, he may be one of the simpler predators we have seen thus far. He seems almost unable to fully process what is even happening, and cannot even properly follow Hansen's questions very well. Firstly, Hansen asked him if he believed coming to the Sting House to engage sexually with a 14-year-old was something he considered appropriate. It's not a complex question, it's binary, with a yes or no. But Kenneth can't manage either. Instead, his brain scrambles to find an escape route. He stumbles through half-formed sentences, ultimately saying that he had reservations about visiting a minor, even though, of course, that wasn't what was asked.
Your reservations.
But he asked me to.
So that made it okay?
I didn't see any harm in just chatting with him, no.
Just chatting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you have nieces and nephews?
Oh, yeah. All the way up to 22 or 23. Actually, I think Dustin may be 24.
Yeah. Now, would you be comfortable if a grown man came into a home where one of your nephews was alone? Would that be okay with you?
Well, I guess it would depend on what their intentions were.
See, now you're telling me your intentions were one thing, but based upon the internet conversation you had with the boy, your intentions seem like something very different.
I think the last conversation that I had with Rocky was that I was coming to meet and chat. He led some other, I don't want to say he led, but he kind of gave that it may be more, and I said no. I says, well, I'm coming to talk and chat, to meet you and chat.
That's obviously not what happened, but Kenneth is almost willing that to be the case, because he doesn't want the life he's built for himself to be destroyed. He's well aware of the fact that he led the sexual conversations, even saying he was going to come over to the home specifically for a BJ. But he's generally hoping that if he were to say all the right things, Chris will just believe that he wasn't going to follow through with what he stated his plans were. He's operating under the delusion that his words, spoken in the present, can rewrite the actions that led him here. That if he performs the role of the, quote, reasonable man, he can undo the image of the predator he revealed online. In essence, Kenneth is hoping that his behavior in person will outweigh his behavior online. But here's the issue. His digital actions are what brought him physically to that doorstep. Every message, every promise, every moment of flirtation was a breadcrumb leading straight to this room. He walked into that house believing a 14-year-old was inside, and he did so of his own free will. What's fascinating, though, is that this kind of mental compartmentalization isn't unique to predators. In fact, it's alarmingly common in the age of social media. The screen creates a sort of psychological barrier that allows people to separate their online behavior from their real-world identity. When communication happens behind a keyboard, actions lose their weight. Words feel less consequential. It's why people will post things online they would never dare say out loud. Someone vents about hating their boss on Twitter, or records a TikTok mocking a coworker while on the clock. To them, it's not that serious. They were just venting or making a joke. Then, when they are eventually fired for violating company policy, they don't fully understand why they're being punished. They don't understand that they violated the company's policies because in their mind, it's just a silly video. But psychologically, it's the same mechanism Kenneth is using on a much larger, darker scale. The belief that the digital self and the physical self exist on separate moral planes, that what happens online doesn't carry into real life. The difference is that for Kenneth, this illusion has catastrophic consequences. He thought he could compartmentalize predatory behavior, keeping it tucked away in a corner of his digital world. detached from the man he believes himself to be. But when he stepped into that sting house, the two versions of himself collided.
Do you do this often?
As far as with younger kids,
Yeah.
I would say that, I thought he was 15, but I would say that,
Well, 15, 14. I mean, what's the
right,
difference?
well, I
really?
agree.
mean, he says right here, hello, hi, 14 male, 14 years old, yeah. Oh my, what are you doing in here? How are you? I like talking to other gay people. Doing well, thanks. So he says it's 14 right there.
That may have been later in the week or something like that, I don't know.
The 19th of March, 11:35 p.m. I mean, that's the chat log, so 14.
Well, he knew I was very concerned about chatting with him and even meeting up with him.
But despite your concern, you showed up anyway.
Kenneth again tries to leverage his general apprehension at preying upon a minor, which is again something he willingly initiated and engaged in. And he's using this as a sign that he's not really a predator, that because he was, quote, concerned, unquote, about talking to a 14-year-old sexually, it's a sign that he isn't actually a sexual deviant, which is laughable. Bank robbers, burglars, which are of course the coolest of criminals, and other non-cool criminals, also get nervous when they're about to break a law. It's a high-risk situation, one where if they fail, they're going to go away to prison for a significant period of time. But that apprehension doesn't mean they weren't really going to follow through with their plan, especially if they already arrived at the targeted location.
Well, I think because of the way that he was telling me that his parents were gone to Vegas and he was alone and stuff like that.
So you were just coming over here to babysit him? To keep an eye on him?
No, I didn't think that he needed a babysitter. You know?
What did you think he did need?
I didn't think that he needed anything, really. I mean, he even asked me to buy him beer, and I says, no way.
You say, I just love playing and blanking a man's blank.
Well, those were the conversations that he was having with me also.
These are your words.
Again, Brinkman tries to reframe the decoy as being the instigator and the one in control of the situation, that somehow because the minor talked back to him, that he is off the hook for potential sexual exploitation and grooming. But again, that isn't how this works. There is no situation in which a minor can dupe an adult into a sexual relationship. There's no scenario where a child can coerce an adult into a situation where they engage with each other sexually, because they are, say it with me now, a minor. It wouldn't be unheard of for a teenager to be inappropriate with an adult in their life, as it's relatively common for minors to have crushes on authority figures, but the responsibility again falls directly on the shoulders of the adult in that situation to disengage and diffuse the situation, as otherwise they would be taking advantage of the person who would be unable to consent, and there are plenty of ways to do so. In this case, it would have been easy. He could have blocked the decoy, not gone on the chat site, or just turned his computer off. But Kenneth wants the public to believe that he was simply powerless against the 14-year-old decoy, that he was all but forced to talk to the 14-year-old sexually, then show up at their home when their parents were away. Oh no!
Yeah, we had some of that chat. But if you go back and look at our last conversation today, or tonight, there was some conversation about beer, and I says, no, I won't do that.
Here you say, I have to ask this. Are you a cop? Why did you ask if he was a cop?
Because of the age. I mean, I haven't done a thing with him, and I mean, look at what I'm doing. I'm sitting here talking with you over it, you know? So, I mean, that was my largest fear. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't hook up online. I meet people, but I don't hook up online.
This is such an odd thing to say because Kenneth is almost conflating the general idea of hooking up with someone online with child predation, and saying that because he doesn't hook up with people online, he obviously wouldn't be showing up to sleep with a 14-year-old he thought he was grooming. But those are two entirely separate things. It doesn't matter that he doesn't use dating sites or that he doesn't go online to try and hook up with people, because he actively showed up to prey upon a minor. It's like saying, because I have a driver's license, I wouldn't hijack a car after you were caught driving a stolen vehicle.
Sounds like you were trying to hook up tonight.
No.
Have you ever asked somebody to blank you off? You talk about...
Oh, I won't deny that there was
You
sexual...
talk about penis size here. Yours and his.
I don't recall him ever telling me his, but...
So that's a damning statement. Instead of saying he never said that, or that he would have never asked a 14-year-old boy about their penis size, Brinkman, ever the genius, responds that he doesn't recall the minor ever telling him about his penis.
I can read it to you.
Well, I don't, I mean, you chat with a lot of people in those chat rooms.
You ask about his homosexuality. You say, well, you're a good-looking guy, but then you say, please delete that picture of me. Why did you want him to delete the picture of you that you had sent him?
I deleted his. I mean, I don't keep pictures on my internet.
You say, you better not be getting me into trouble. That's not good.
It's not, because, I mean, look what's happened here. Even though I haven't done anything with the guy, look what's happened.
Kenneth, like most predators, refuses to really understand why what happened here is wrong, and how he is at fault for all of this. In his mind, because he repeatedly asked the decoy if they were working with the police and expressed any sort of apprehension about preying on the minor, he should be allowed to walk away from this situation without issue. Sure, had the decoy been a real 14-year-old boy, he would have sexually exploited him. But Kenneth had asked the minor if it would be okay to prey on him, so who cares if they were objectively unable to make that sort of decision for themselves? We can totally trust that Kenneth would never prey on a minor if he said no, even though the no should be implied given the law. But he's a good predator, one that falsely fosters a relationship with the minor to make them feel special, in order to sexually exploit them and then discard them later on. He's not like those other predators, who do exactly what he does. But the real issue here from his perspective is that the police and Chris Hansen lied to him. They pretended to be a child and wasted all of his time. Days of grooming, absolutely wasted, because they weren't honest with him, and now they're trying to morally grandstand.
So you have that dark hair. Do you have any body hair?
Yeah. I mean, those are normal chat things on...
It's normal chat things with a 14-year-old boy? You're underage, and then what if you got pissed at me sometime? I would go to jail. You say you're very cool and very safe. Did you bring condoms with you tonight?
No. I didn't even bring my wallet. I walked out and left my wallet on the dresser.
How was the ride over today?
How was my ride over?
Over here.
Oh, it's fine.
How far did you travel tonight?
I live in Kettering.
Kettering. And how far is that from where we're at here?
I want to say 30 miles, 33 miles, something like that. I really don't know. I think it was, according to what the directions he gave me, was 45 minutes. I'm sorry, 45 mile.
45 miles.
Yeah.
So you drove 45 miles just to, what, chat with this kid?
Absolutely. The guy, he told me that his parents were in Vegas, and I mean, I even said in the email, hey, I'm coming to meet and to chat with you.
You also say in your chat, so you have a nice blank, slang word for penis.
What's that now?
So you have a nice cock, is what you say to him.
Yeah, I guess I did. I think he asked about mine, too.
And you go into great detail about that. Do you see why it's hard for me to believe that you were just here to chat? Based upon this discussion.
I know myself. I'm 43 years old. And I know myself what I would have done.
So, this is a healthy mentality to have in some circumstances, but unfortunately for Kenneth, does not negate the real physical evidence that he was going to prey on a 14-year-old boy that was home alone.
Period.
You ask him if he's horny, and then say, I wish you were not so far away. What conclusion can I draw from this?
I totally understand.
What do you do for a living?
I manage an audit department for a major oil company for 25 years.
It's a big job.
Absolutely. I'm fucking scared to death.
How do you defend this behavior?
Well, I should have never came here. No matter what, you always hear stories online about situations like this, and no matter how you feel about it doesn't matter what they're saying to you, you just have to say that the hell with it.
Kenneth has seemingly learned the wrong lesson here. In his mind, the issue wasn't that he came to the house looking to engage sexually with a child whose parents were away. It was that he was lied to by the police. Whenever he had heard stories about these sting operations that are meant to keep children safe, he believed that they were really cautionary tales about catfishing, and the men caught were just good guys who made the mistake of being lied to by the police. He couldn't help but feel bad for the poor men who came to prey upon the minors, because of course they had been misled. And now he is actively saying he has learned not that preying upon minors is wrong, but that he should be more careful when lurking around them because the police will lie. That is so far and away from the normal conclusion for someone to come to that it's fairly alarming. Based solely on this statement alone, it would not be surprising to learn that he had tried to engage sexually with other minors online after this.
Do you have an addiction to the internet? A compulsion?
No, I wouldn't say that. I live on the computer at work, so but and I chat all the time with my mom. She's got cancer and is in South Bend, and we communicate all the time, through the internet, and and I have friends that I talk with online, but this was the first time I've ever chatted with someone at this age,
Aren't there enough 21-year-olds and over to chat with?
Well, actually, most guys that talk to me are in that age, 25, 26 years old.
Well, nobody cares about that.
Well,
Those are adults.
But, you're right.
What people get upset about, what the law has an issue with, is 14, 13, 12-year-old kids.
Well, I know. And that was...
what goes on between adults is nobody's business but the adults.
Absolutely.
But when it gets down to this, can you see why somebody would have an issue?
Oh, yeah.
Pausing to note that he had stated earlier that he doesn't use the internet to hook up with people, but now he claims that he often talks to adult men online. It's a small discrepancy, and I am feeling pedantic. So, here we are.
That I can tell you right now, nothing sexually would ever happen with me and this kid. That's just, I know how I am.
I know, but based upon the chat,
I know.
It sounds like you were getting ready to have a big old night of sex with this kid.
No. I don't even have sex with men my age the first time I meet them. Period.
Well, if you had to sum it up, how did you end up here tonight?
Because he asked me to come.
I know, but because a 14-year-old asks you to do something doesn't mean you do it.
Well, and you're right in the sense that it's a dangerous thing. In his shoes, I know what I'm like, and I know that, I'm good at conversation, I'm good company. I'm not talking sex or anything like that.
But you were talking sex in the internet
we
chat.
we both were.
I know, but there's a difference. You're 43 years old and he's
Right. You're
14.
right. You're right.
So,
I understand.
Do you know that it's illegal to solicit somebody this age over the internet for sex?
I didn't think that I was. I mean, we didn't agree to sex. We did not agree to sex at all.
It's a sexually charged conversation, certainly. I mean, you know what you said. I read you the quotes. What do you think should happen to you tonight?
Well, right now I'm scared to death. I just want to go home.
Well, there's a couple things that you have to know. One is that I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. We're doing a story about adults hooking up with teenagers on the internet. If you have anything else you'd like to say, we'd like to hear it. If not, you're obviously free to go.
So this is going to be on TV?
We don't know. We're working on a story. No decisions have been made as to what is or is not going to be in it. We're just in the early stages of this story.
That's just as bad as getting arrested, you know?
I mean, I'm just being straight up with you. I don't know, and there's no way I can say at this point.
I want to go.
Absolutely. Free to go.
And I've been taught a lesson. Big time.
You know, this is not the first time we've done a story like this.
I don't know.
Okay. Don't forget your jacket.
Kenneth likely felt a bit of relief when walking out of the door. Sure, he was filmed as part of a predator sting operation, but he hadn't been arrested, and he hadn't been assaulted. And there was a slight chance that he wasn't going to be featured on the show based solely on what Chris said. So in his mind, the day could have gone worse.
Put your hands up! Around. Put your hands on your back.
Alright, never mind.
Listen up. You have the right to remain silent. You understand that? Anything you say can't be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand that?
Yes or no?
Yes.
You have the right to talk to the lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Not afford to hire a lawyer. One will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Ready?
Yep.
Take a seat, watch your head getting in. Get your foot in there. There you go. Slide your foot in. You good?
Ken, out there where you're arrested on 5K Avenue, I read your constitutional rights, your Miranda rights. Did you understand them at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And you will verify that I did read them to you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see a picture of this girl?
Oh, okay. I was not too sure.
Court number yet, right? I got some questions I want to ask you. Are you willing to talk to me?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to be truthful with me. Okay. About
Can you
everything.
push my glasses up?
Okay. I want you to be truthful with me about everything I ask you about. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Why did you come to the house out there on 5K Avenue today, or tonight, this morning?
Actually, it's supposed to be like 11:30.
Okay.
Well, I had been chatting with, who said he was Rocky, I think maybe a week or so. And so anyway, we started chatting tonight, or Friday night, and he told me that his parents had went to Vegas and that he was home alone and bored. And so anyway, we chatted about all kinds of stuff. I mean, sex. I mean, he was in a gay chat room, And so anyway, at one point we decided that we would meet up, and I even mentioned, I says, that's fine. I don't mind meeting up and chatting, but I says, and I asked him on different occasions if he was a cop or anything like that. I mean, I normally do with anybody that I'm chatting with. So, because I mean, they can tell you that they're 40 or 50, but you don't know that,
In the time Kenneth has had to himself while waiting to talk to the police, it would seem that he was unable to ultimately come up with a better excuse as to why he was going to sexually assault and exploit the minor he had traveled to see. Kenneth was extremely paranoid about potentially getting caught by the police. Not paranoid enough to not prey upon the minor in the first place, but enough to call the decoy before talking about coming over and setting up the code. On the call, Kenneth told the decoy that when they did talk about him coming over, he would deliberately say he wanted to come by to chat. That way, if their chat logs were found by his parents or worse, the police, they could deny any sexual relationship. The decoy even said as much in their chat logs, mentioning the code in the chats themselves, which defeated the entire purpose. The following is the log as made available by prefertojustice.com. Kenneth, are you sure this is all cool and we're just going to meet and chat? Decoy, meet and chat? Kenneth, yeah, chat about things. Decoy, oh, right, lol, duh, I forget. That's what you gotta say, so there ain't no trouble. Kenneth seems to be of the belief that by saying that even though he was recorded saying that meet and chat was code for having sex, that he has made it so there is enough plausible deniability that he was going to sexually exploit the fictional minor, as if his previous 4 days of conversation weren't already predatory. Moreover, that he always asks the person he is chatting with online if they are a cop, simply as a precaution. He says that he does this because he can never be too sure who he's talking to, referring to someone's age and appearance. However, I am genuinely confused by what he is trying to say here. Why would he ask if every person he was talking to, even those who are of age, who he expects of maybe lying about their appearance, is a cop? Would them being a cop make them more honest about their appearance? Why would there be apprehension over talking to a police officer online if you were not doing something legally questionable? The only time I've ever seen someone ask if the other party is a cop is when they're actively breaking the law, or talking about breaking the law. Otherwise, it doesn't really come up. Kenneth has somehow made himself look even more guilty, which I would have thought was impossible, but alas, he managed to do it.
Okay, your screen name is what?
Jungle Mania 2005 0.
Probably, I'm not sure if I know that person.
Who are you coming to see today or visit? What was her name?
I wanted some information.
His name was
Or his
Rocky.
name?
Rocky.
Rocky?
Rocky.
AOL is America Online.
So, okay, you can call up that person and talk to him.
What was the screen name that he used?
What do you say it means again?
It's Art of Living.
Art of Living.
Yes.
Oh God, I don't remember now.
Just phone if I call it right now.
In almost every predator sting, there comes a moment when they're asked something about the minor they were trying to prey on. And no matter what the specifics of the question are, the predator always struggles to remember any tangible detail beyond their age, and the fact that they were trying to see them, because that's all that matters to them. Most of the time, These men try to state that they aren't normally attracted to minors, but there was just something special about this one in particular. Kenneth, in his previous statements, even said that he never hooks up with people online, meaning that there should be something about this fictional 14-year-old that stood out to him, but he can't even remember his screen name. This perfectly illustrates the predatory nature of the relationship. Kenneth tried to act like a peer, someone who could interact with the minor on their level, be understanding and empathetic, and of course be his first real relationship. He attempted to gain the minor's trust, all to sleep with him and then disengage as if nothing ever happened. And while he would be able to walk away and move on with his life, what state would he have left the 14-year-old in? Maybe feeling used and exploited, feeling as if his only value in relationships with people is his body, and developing some unhealthy relationship dynamics because of that. Had there been a real 14-year-old boy at the other end of the conversation, Kenneth would have hurt them, and he never even considered that.
You've been talking to him for a week or so and you don't remember?
Well, the reason I don't is because, on AOL, once you start talking, it just comes up automatically.
What do you think it was?
Yes, sir. Sure. Sir, but
Talk to so many people.
you can just.
Can't even tell you my mom's screen name right now. Once I look at it,
I'm being very honest. You can definitely talk to him. You can ask him okay or whatever. Maybe he knows me.
I think it started.
I
wanted to say
My
you.
email ID, I cannot. I have quite a few friends in art of building.
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Okay. How'd you first meet Rocky?
In the Dayton Men for Men.
What's your first name again?
Dayton Men for Men?
Yeah, AOL.
What's your last name, Chandra?
Yes, sir.
And that's a chat room?
Yes.
I go by.
When was that again?
Yes, sir.
It may have been last Friday, but I won't swear to that. It may have been earlier that week.
Did you bring anything with you other than what we had?
You know how old that Rocky was, or how old Rocky
I
told you he
thought,
was before you come to visit him?
I thought he said that he was 15, but the guy when he was talking to me in the basement said he was 14. I mean, it was a concern because, he was younger than I am, considerably younger than I am.
Well, I've got the logs from your chats, okay? And he told you he was 14 years old.
Okay.
Now, was he 14 or is he 15?
Well, I have to say 14 if that's what the log says.
Okay.
So you drive all the way from Greenville to watch movies with this 14-year-old girl with condoms in your pocket. I mean, you see how it looks?
What made you think that he was 14 years old?
I'm sorry.
What made you think that he was 14 years old?
He told me he was.
Okay, did you exchange any pictures or photographs with him?
Well, I know I sent him one.
Did he send you one?
Yeah, I think so. And at the time when I sent him mine, I said, which I do, anybody I send my picture to, I ask him to delete it, but I have a professional job, so I just always ask them to delete it. You never know if they do or not, so.
Did you have any phone conversations with Rocky when you were coming to see him?
Just tonight.
How many?
One right before he called me. I want to say maybe 10:30.
How long of calls were they?
I was just at one, except for when I couldn't find the house.
How long of a call?
Maybe 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Maybe.
I would not find any other signs of you chatting with any other girls online. You underage girls.
What phone did you call from? What was the number that you called from?
He called me.
You call Kentucky up and you let me go check your computer out.
What's your cell phone number?
937-287-3846.
Really?
Yes, sir.
That was your cell phone, correct?
Correct.
What did you talk about each time?
Actually, it's my roommate's laptop.
It's your roommate's laptop.
Yes, sir.
That was so
You
short.
can check that.
He wanted to know what I was doing.
Please don't tell me.
Wanted to know if I was going to come and see him.
Don't tell who.
And I said, yes. And that was really it. It was kind of a vague phone call.
Did you ever have any sexual conversations with him?
Oh, yeah.
What did they entail?
Well, he told me about an experience he had with a cousin. And then he asked me, that was the first conversation, or the first time he ever really talked sexually, I guess. Wanted to know if, and I wasn't even on, I was online, but I wasn't at the computer. And he wanted to know if that weirded him out. And by the time I got back to the computer, he was gone. And so tonight, when we started chatting, I told him, I says, hey, everybody has, it's cool. Everybody has their own, I guess, stories, about what went on with him and his cousin.
Okay, so no. Kenneth is claiming here that in one of his first conversations with the boy, who he thought was a 14-year-old, he was told that the child was being exploited by a family member, that this was something that the decoy offered up to him and wanted to talk about. And his response was that it was okay, everyone has a story like that, and that he would gladly have sex with the minor as well. Great. He had heard the 14-year-old had been abused before, and instead of providing any kind of sympathy or just general guidance, he decided that he would also abuse the minor, which is beyond sick. And he doesn't seem to realize this at all.
The two of you talk about what sexually explicit things did you two talk about?
He said something about what happened with his cousin would be cool with us.
What did you talk about sexually?
Sexually?
Yes.
Size. And that was really about it. Sucking.
Did you ask to suck his?
All right, Mama Diva.
No, not that I recall.
What did you come up here for tonight?
Like I said, the end of the conversation was, or even during the conversation, was that his parents had left to go to Las Vegas.
Why did you come up here tonight?
I came up here just to meet and chat with the kid.
To have sex with him?
Nope.
Never discussed having sex with him?
Nope.
Tonight or any other time on these chat logs?
I can't say that we definitely talked about having sex, no.
The interrogator is being fairly straightforward and aggressive with Kenneth, which is a natural response to some of the sicker things that he's saying. But even though this is a natural and understandable response to this information, it rarely works in police interviews. Most of the time, that aggressive kind of response leads to the suspect asking for a lawyer or shutting down entirely emotionally, which is the opposite of what you would be after. The goal of a police interrogation is to gain more information, either to be used to profile the kind of person behind the crime or to gain a confession. In this case, the police would have more than enough information to arrest Kenneth and the other men caught in these stings. But what they are really interested in is how these predators operate. By learning about how they pick their targets, how they go after them, and how they manipulate them before, during, and after, they can be better equipped to stop them. But this interviewer isn't really interested in that at the moment. Again, interviewing predators in the manner we just described is difficult. It means feigning empathy and compassion for someone outlining how they want to hurt children, and most people cannot fake that. However, something that is almost comical is the fact that Kenneth sincerely believes that because he used the coded phrase in the last chat, that completely invalidates the 4 days of sexual conversations. It's like he thinks that because he wrote JK one time in the chat, that it invalidates everything that he said, which is beyond stupid. But Kenneth doesn't realize that at all. In fact, based solely on his responses to the officer, he seems to think that he's doing a really good job. He was a bit shaky with Hansen, but now he's really come into his stride, and he's had some time to really think through his answers. This is where he's landed. That technically maybe if they didn't actually talk about having sex per se, and that he definitely wasn't going to have sex tonight, he's definitely innocent, which is complete nonsense.
I mean, we talked about sex, but to just have sex with each other, no.
Jungle Mania, 5:46 p.m. I love to have a guy come in my mouth.
Yeah, but that wasn't talking about him. I mean,
This kid posed himself to you as being a 14-year-old, and that's the conversation that you're having with him?
well, yeah, but he was having the same type of conversation.
And he posed to you as being 14 years old.
Well, I didn't see any harm in that, because it wasn't something we were talking about with us.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Kenneth is being willfully obtuse here, because he absolutely did see the harm in the conversation. We know this because he repeatedly asked the decoy if they were working with the police, if they were really 14, and he was very upfront with the fact that if the chat logs were found, he could go to jail. He knew what he was doing was wrong, but he didn't care enough to not do it.
Okay. Well, I don't believe it.
I mean, it's just like the deal with him talking to me about his cousin. I didn't see
Jungle Mania.
And tell me what really is going on here.
What's that? Oh boy, the stuff. Oh boy, the when it goes in your mouth. Jungle Mania. Oh, now I never waste a load. Laugh out loud, okay. Jungle Mania, would you like that?
Yeah, no, that happened.
Yeah, because it's right here on the chat log. Now, you're not being truthful with me.
Oh, yes, I am.
Totally truthful with me.
I feel that I am because I know. I mean, you're reading parts of that. The whole conversation. I mean, it never really. I never said that that's what I wanted to do with him. It was the conversation that we were having.
University of Kentucky Library of Property.
I mean, there was a point where he was trying to get me to commit to something more than just coming and meeting and chatting with him. And I says, look, I don't know. First of all, I don't know what his age was, and look what the hell happened.
If he represented you as he was 14 years old, you didn't care. If he was 14 years old, you didn't care. It didn't bother you that he was 14 years old.
Well, it depends if
and
you're
you're carrying
at-
on these kind of conversations with what you believe is a 14-year-old kid.
Absolutely.
Then you come up here tonight just to meet him.
Absolutely. And I do that with anybody that I meet online.
And that, Kenneth, is why you were arrested, because that is a crime. The issue here is that Brinkman believes that he's having some sort of philosophical debate, where everything is hypothetical, and because the minor was really a decoy, his actions don't necessarily count as being predatory. But he just directly admitted to breaking the law, engaging sexually with a minor online, and traveling in order to see the minor after sexually explicit conversations.
I mean, if it's part of the movie,
I mean,
So you do this often?
no.
Is this the first time you've ever done this?
Done what? Met somebody from online? Mm-hmm. No.
It's the first time you ever met somebody online or came to meet somebody online that you knew posed as a 14-year-old boy?
Absolutely.
The first time?
Absolutely.
What made you do it this time?
Because he said his parents were in Las Vegas and that he was bored.
You're carrying on these explicit conversations with a 14-year-old, knowing that his parents are not home and didn't expect to have any kind of sexual contact with him.
Absolutely. He even asked me to bring him beer and I said no.
Kenneth keeps bringing this up as if it's the end-all be-all argument, but it obviously isn't. Him not wanting to supply a minor with beer does not negate him talking to that minor sexually. Again, it's like saying that he wouldn't go skinny dipping, so he obviously wouldn't have stolen the boat, even though he was caught in the middle of stealing a boat. It's unrelated and frankly fucking stupid.
I came with no condoms, no intentions of.
You think we believe the story?
Where do you live at again? In Kettering, right?
Yes.
We haven't been doing this, we're not.
Where's the computer at that located at to use to communicate with Rocky?
Brandy box of condoms.
Where is it?
Yeah.
It's in my apartment.
And you're not being straight up with us.
I am.
No, you're not. Do we look stupid? You know? Chatting with you tell the girl you're 27. She tells you.
So tell me again what you came up here to do with him tonight.
I came here strictly to meet and chat with Rocky.
Did you graduate high school?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I even, when I couldn't find the house,
Been in the United States
I even left.
for 5+ years.
And I
How
was
many times did you drive around that house tonight?
I think 4 times before I left. Because I went down and come around the first time, which I didn't know where I was at that point.
I think you're a hottie.
And then I think I went 3 other times before I left.
40 type.
You're telling me that you came up here just to meet him after all this conversation with him about sexually explicit things, about oral sex, in his mouth, coming in somebody's mouth.
I didn't talk to him about in his mouth.
Some romance if you don't mind.
Why did you come to see him then?
I came here to meet and to chat with him, and that was it.
However the situation
Why didn't you just chat with him online?
I was.
Why did you come up here to chat with
Because
him?
he asked me to.
She said, yeah, we can have sex, we have sex.
Kenneth and other predators we have discussed always seem to believe that this is a reasonable answer, that if a minor asks you to do something, you are legally off the hook if you follow through with their suggestion. But that obviously isn't true. Minors want to do things that are bad for themselves all the time. They have no concept of what's actually good or healthy for them, because as far as they know, nothing bad is ever really going to happen to them because they're going to live forever. They don't need to worry about their teeth rotting out of their head from eating sugar or their shortening attention span, because they have feasibly no concept of what that means. Meaning that if everything he was saying was true, it would still mean that he preyed on a minor. He knew what he was doing was wrong, and he acknowledged that fact multiple times, making his attempts to shirk responsibility beyond laughable.
Is that what that means? That's what you say. You say how the situation takes. Now,
In fact, there was even a conversation where he said something about it coming up or something. I says, well, I don't even remember you asking me to come, Rocky. And he says, oh, yeah, I did. And I says, well, I don't remember that.
and you bring condoms, and you have talk like this in condoms, what do you think a jury's going to think? You think a jury's going to believe your story?
I mean, if there was any talk about something sexual tonight between him and I, it came from him, and I says, hey, I'm coming to meet and chat.
Friends in Kentucky?
And I asked him several times if he was a cop, and he said no.
Why was you worried if he was a cop?
Well, because of the age. I mean, in the situation I'm in right now, I mean, I did nothing with the kid.
Here's the way it works. I can't tell them.
I think he had plans on coming up here and doing something with the kid.
I
Okay?
can well, I'm
Do
sure
you understand
do.
why I feel that way?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you do. But I'm telling you that I didn't. I don't have the intentions of doing that with anybody that I meet online. I don't care if they're 40.
However the situation, have you ever had
Hell, the only reason I came back was because he asked me to come back.
what does BF mean?
After you drove around several times.
Kinda.
8:51 tonight.
We could.
Okay?
if you want to.
8:52 last night, I'm sorry.
He says, okay, what does
So are you horny? That's you asking this.
LOL mean?
Yep.
Laughing?
Jungle Mania, laugh out loud.
Okay, yeah.
Jungle Mania, good
And
man.
you ask her, does that mean yes?
All at the same time?
No, it's two different lines. My point is, you're talking about sex online to this person that's 14.
I'm not denying
I
that.
know you're not. And why you're denying that you came up here and your intentions weren't to have some kind of sex with the 14-year-old, I don't believe.
Well, and you have that right to do that. I mean, you don't know me any more than I know you. I just know how I am. I know how I personally am. And if I was coming up here to have sex with him, I'd have had condoms or something with me. And
There's
I
no
don't have
condoms or anything in your car.
No,
None in your billfold,
no.
none anywhere. And you'll give us a consent to search your vehicle?
Sure.
Okay. Because that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's
Okay?
fine.
What's your so curious?
Do you have any explicit images of any children in your car or at work or at home?
497.
No,
Do you have a home telephone number?
no.
No,
that your cell phone there? Is that the only phone you have?
Yeah.
What is that number?
There's, on my computer, there's probably a few pictures of the people have sent me, but I mean, I don't know, I can't tell you that they're, what the ages are, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to judge that.
Do you care what the ages are?
Well, of course I care. I mean, we have never exchanged explicit pictures.
Lots of laughs, is that what it means?
I mean, that's Rocky and I never ever exchanged any type of nude pictures or nothing.
We'll read you some more chat.
You guess.
Okay.
I don't know, that's why I asked.
497.
Oh boy. So what you doing, Jungle Mania? Just cleaning the living room, and what are you doing? Oh boy. Nothing at all, really. Jungle Mania, cool. Oh boy. Yeah, about as cool as cleaning. Jungle Mania. So do you have a nice
Yeah, but what were we talking about prior to that?
cleaning?
No, I mean,
It doesn't matter what you're talking about prior to it. You're asking him something sexually explicit.
Can I tell you?
Correct?
Right.
Okay.
He says, when? This Friday. Like your parents are going.
but that, he was in that chat.
Yeah.
Does that make it okay if you know it's a 14-year-old kid and you're asking him how big his is or how nice his is?
I did not realize that it was.
He absolutely did realize, which is why he is so concerned with the decoy being affiliated with law enforcement. You do not repeatedly ask a person for reassurance that they are not affiliated with the police unless you are fearful of your actions landing you in legal trouble, which he clearly was.
Do I need to go back to this first page on this chat when you ask how old he is?
No, he's in the chat room, you know, and
So that makes it okay.
talk is talk. I mean, hell, they do it in high school. You know,
Does
I'm
that
not.
make it okay?
No, it's
You're
not.
how old, Ken?
You're right. It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
Talk is talk, and hell, they do it in high school. Let's review that statement right there, because no, talk is not just talk, especially when you're trying to sexually abuse a minor online. The last part of a statement is something we've seen predators use as a defense, and that is the fact that teenagers can make the decision to sleep with other teenagers, and that doesn't break any laws. This sentiment is usually brought up to show how unfair it is that they're being penalized for sexually exploiting a teenager, with some particularly peculiar individuals asserting that it's hypocritical, which it's not. Teenagers are at the same place developmentally, meaning that if they were to choose to have sex with another teenager, it's more likely that they're both making the decision from the same place. There isn't one person who is vastly more mature and able to parse through how to carefully manipulate the other party into sleeping with them, like when a 45-year-old sexually predates on a 14-year-old.
And when I was his age, I wouldn't even be talking about it.
Exactly.
Does it have street after it, or is it just, that's it?
Do you have any children?
No.
How, if you did have a child, how would you feel if they got online and was talking to somebody like this as a parent?
Well, as a parent, my kids wouldn't be online.
On UK campus,
Period.
I work in the library.
And I mean, I've got nieces and nephews that are, you know, teenagers, and you know, I'm constantly telling their moms, "Hey."
Why do you tell them that?
Well, because I'm in the chat rooms, I know what goes on in those chat rooms.
So Kenneth's solution to child predation is that kids shouldn't be online, because if they are online, it's fair game for him to talk to them sexually, as evidenced by him talking to the decoy sexually. Now, would it be harder for sexual predators to prey on children online if they were kept online? Yes, obviously. However, that doesn't give men, like Kenneth, carte blanche to do whatever they want. Just because a minor is online does not translate into them asking to be sexually exploited. There's a lack of personal responsibility here that nearly borders on delusion. He's blaming children for having access to the internet, rather than doing the easy thing and just not talking to them sexually.
But it doesn't matter that you're chatting with somebody that's 14 years old.
Well, I think the intentions were different. I mean, I know what my intentions are.
So do I.
Well,
Okay? It's pretty obvious, Ken.
no, it's not.
Yes,
Not
it
to
is.
me. I know what I am.
I don't know, sir.
And what is that?
I'm a man with a good heart. The kid was lonely, bored, and that's all it was.
So that's why you asked him how big his penis was.
That had nothing to do with
That's
Well-
all part of this chat.
Well, we've been chatting for how long?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Most of this chat is from tonight.
There was chat earlier. I mean, a week ago, the middle of last week, because we've chatted like 2 or 3 different times.
And each time you talk about sexually explicit things.
Not the whole time, but yeah.
I didn't say the whole time. I said
Yeah.
each time.
Do you know what your license plate number is?
Okay?
And you know, it's,
Is it
A lot of
right?
How long have you lived in Kentucky?
I guess the way that he carried himself, you would assume that on my end that
Bearing in mind he's 14 years old.
right, but I'm saying the way that he came in and was chatting, whether it's right or wrong, I mean, you know,
Bearing in mind that he's 14 years old,
Tell me right now and save me the
it
trouble.
made it all right for you to ask him those questions.
You want to sign this, giving me permission to search any officer that...
no, but some of them I was answering these questions. I guess I could have been rude and just say it's none of your business.
Oh, okay, you know what? Our bad here. Kenneth was just trying to be polite. He didn't want to be rude to the 14-year-old he was talking to. So that's why the conversation became sexual. It's not that he was seeking to have a sexual relationship or a conversation with a minor. It's because he's just a really good guy. Of course, that makes perfect sense. Kenneth, our bad. We'll end the video here.
But when you ask him his penis size,
Oh, that's right. You're just coming up here just to chat, right?
To meet him and chat, yes.
I'm going to be honest with you, and again, I don't believe your story.
Okay.
You're not being truthful with me. Your body language tells me that. I'm an investigator.
I'm being 100% truthful with you on what my intentions were for tonight. That's just the way it is. And I'm sorry that you don't believe that, but I'm not like some of the other people that you may pick up on there. That's just not me.
Well, let me tell you how similar in conversation your conversation is with other people on the internet chatting with kids that are this age. It's very similar.
Well,
Okay?
okay.
It's very similar. You're the 9th person tonight that we've arrested for this.
I know that when I meet people my age, they think, now I'm just giving you an example.
This is not someone your age.
I know, but when I do meet people my age, they think that I'm going to do anything with them, and that's just not me.
Okay, that's not him, guys. He'd rather do things with a 14-year-old. The police interviewer's irritation has been evident throughout the interview, and it makes sense as to why. He has had to talk to 9 predators thus far, and each one of them was likely just as annoying and pedantic as Kenneth. He's had to read the most disgusting chats, listen to these men validate their sexual predation, and pretend like they didn't know that having sexual conversations with minors was wrong. The fact that he isn't outright screaming is a testament to how patient he actually is.
So you ask somebody repeatedly, "Are you horny?" And then you just show up at their house and just say, "I just want to talk."
That was just in conversation. That was not even when we had decided.
If I
to
ask
meet.
you if you're horny, what does that mean to you?
He's in a
If I ask you if you're horny, what does that mean to you?
to me, it's an everyday thing for me.
You ask him in here if he was horny, and you say, "I wish you lived closer."
Correct.
Why?
Only because he was an hour away. You know, during the whole conversation, I mean, you're looking at those 2 lines.
No, I'm looking at more than 2 lines.
Well, I'm just saying though.
All we're doing is picking out certain excerpts from this
Right. And trying
about
to-
your conversation that shows that you had sexually explicit conversation with him.
I did, and I won't deny that. But that doesn't mean that I came here to have sex with him. That's my point, is that it doesn't mean...
If the opportunity would arose, you wouldn't have taken it.
Absolutely not. Nope. Not in a heartbeat. I just don't do it.
Not too many people drive an hour at midnight
Where's he at?
just to talk, do they?
What time was you originally supposed to have been up here tonight to meet him?
In Maryland?
I think it was 11:30. Because it wasn't until,
Mandarin chat room too?
I wanted to say 10 o'clock, that I even agreed to do it.
We haven't managed.
I think he actually called me.
So if I call
Well, my phone's in my car, but I think that he actually called me around 10 o'clock.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
No.
what's their name?
Why did you choose to come to Dark County?
That's where he was at.
Did you tell anybody you were coming here other than who you came to visit?
No.
You're an accountant, you work for a major oil company, huh? Mm-hmm. That's what you tell everybody in your chats?
That's what I am.
Are you supposed to
Where do you
marry
work
him or
at?
something?
Speedway.
No? Okay.
I manage the audit department.
How well do you know him?
Okay.
How well do you know him?
I'm just going to read you a couple more lines of this because I want you to get the drift where I'm coming from, okay? Jungle Mania. So do you a lot? Oh boy, yes, sometimes like a river. Oh boy, do you? Jungle Mania, cool. Jungle Mania, oh yes. Oh boy, cool. Hey, would it be okay if I called you quick while I can?
That was
Jungle Mania on the phone. Oh boy, yeah, if that's okay with you. Oh boy, it's not. If that's not okay. Oh boy, I was just wondering. Jungle Mania. Well, better wait on that, Rocky. Oh boy, okay. Jungle Mania. Sorry. Oh boy, that's cool. I was just wondering since I do not. Since they're asleep. Oh boy, no, it's okay. Jungle Mania, laugh out loud. Oh boy, you're still cool. Jungle Mania, they may hear you, man. Oh boy, no, they're clear at the other side of the house. Oh boy, it's a big house, laugh out loud. Jungle Mania, okay. Oh boy, plus I use a calling card to call you, so if, and I mean if, they do come, which they won't, I'll hang up and they can go no way to know it was you. Oh boy, I can hear him coming down the stairs, so I'd hang up anyway. Oh boy, but it's up to you. Jungle Mania, sneak out for a
that was a conversation not tonight.
It doesn't matter. What are you asking him to sneak out to do?
Oh, I know. I understand.
What? Okay.
I understand where you're coming from, but that was like the first chat we ever had.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
As we mentioned before, Kenneth appears to be under the belief that since he wrote that he just wanted to meet and chat with the decoy when he actually came and visited him, it would void all of their previous conversations. Never mind that he was recorded saying it was just a coded phrase, he genuinely seems to think that that alone would exonerate him. It's maybe the dumbest thing we've ever seen. Maybe.
Okay? Come on, Ken. Honestly.
You're asking me why I'm here tonight. Why I came up here tonight.
Why are you chatting with him?
Well,
Why are you talking about sexually explicit things? Why are you talking about with him?
Because that's where the conversation went, which
But you
is
knew he
wrong.
was 14 years
Right.
old. Ball team. Who's your favorite player?
I agree.
What? Then tell me why that the conversation had to be the sexually explicit conversation that you had with him, rather than that about what's your favorite sport? Who's your favorite actor? How's your grades in school?
I was just following his conversation.
But you're the adult.
I agree with that.
Why didn't you stop it? When it got to that point, why didn't you stop it?
I should have.
We'll take one more here. Okay, Your eyes
So
There's something almost therapeutic about how Kenneth is being reprimanded here. The interrogator has had enough of his bullshit, pretty plainly going over how easy it would have been for him to not engage with the minor sexually, if at all. The only issue here is that Kenneth isn't receiving the information. He remains relatively calm and almost smug, and he isn't really taking in anything the interrogator is saying. and is shrugging off any sense of personal responsibility, which is objectively odd. Usually at this point, we would see some kind of realization or display of self-pity, but there's nothing there.
You know it was wrong,
Yeah.
and you did it anyway.
I guess at the time I did not see it as being wrong because he was in the chat room and it was just talk.
I'd like to tell the prosecutor that you cooperated with.
What did that lead to?
But I can't do that.
That chat and that talk, what did that ultimately lead to?
Definitely led to more than what I ever anticipated.
What did it lead to tonight? Where are you at?
I'm right here in trouble.
On your computer,
If you would have kept the conversation to something such as sports or whatever, school, do you think that you'd be here tonight?
no nudity, no child porn.
I think, would I have met him? I think so.
If the conversation would have stayed sports and not sex?
Yeah, I mean, because I was dwelling more on the fact that he was bored. He said his parents were gone for 4 days.
Did you think that was rather strange for a 14-year-old to be gone, or for his parents to be gone for 4 days and leave him at the house by himself?
You tell me about you were telling here today?
I didn't really find it to be strange, just simply because early on, like a week ago when we were chatting, the fact that, he led me to believe that his parents kind of let him do what he wanted to do, as far as, hell, he was online at midnight, and I was like, don't you have school? Well, yeah. And then he said something, one time he said something about his mom coming in and telling him to go to bed. It's like, well, you probably ought to, you got school.
Do you think his mom?
So there's something deeply wrong with Kenneth. I don't know what it is, but the only other predator we have seen this forthright has been Jim Roche, and he was blackout drunk. Kenneth is blatantly admitting that one of the reasons he felt safe approaching the decoy is because the decoy presented himself as if his parents were really hands-off in terms of parenting, that because he was allowed to stay up past midnight on a school night, and because he talked about how little his parents seemed to mind, that was one of the reasons he felt so confident preying upon him. Of course, he doesn't use those exact words, but that is the basis of what he is saying. This is unfortunately something that is extremely common with predators. They tend to target vulnerable children, specifically those whose parents are either divorced or live in poverty. Because the parent cannot spend as much time with the child, the predator can move in without notice. They can also exploit the minor's want for adult validation and attention. What Kenneth is saying here is accurate to how most predators operate, but his complete lack of personal responsibility here is weird. He thinks he's defending himself, when he's just confirming what we already know.
Would have known about the sexually explicit conversations and would have cared?
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. He said that his parents were computer stupid.
Did that stop you from talking about those things with her?
No, I answered his questions. Wherever he led it, I went, And
you didn't lead any of it?
As far as, what do you mean by lead it?
The conversations about sex. You never brought up anything about sex. You only answered what he asked you about sex.
Well, I think, one thing may lead to it, would have let,
Ken, it's
okay,
a simple
fine.
answer.
All right, fine. Yeah, I'm sure that at some point I brought up something that he didn't.
So by what you're saying, if his parents were home, you'd have come up here anyways, right? Because you were just going to talk to him, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean if his parents were home?
Yeah, you'd have just come up anyways because you were just going to talk, right? You weren't doing anything wrong.
I'm Rocky's friend Ken. I've been chatting with him online. I just wanted to meet him tonight.
Yeah. If you're just going to meet him tonight, what point, how many times do you have to meet him before you had sex with him?
I guess, I would have never had sex with him. Never.
You talk about sneaking out for your size, all
That
the
was
stuff swallowing
conversation
loads.
online, but, it's one thing when you're face to face. And the other thing is I probably would have never came and met him if his parents were here, just in protection of him. Because he kept telling me that if his dad ever found out, his dad would throw him out, that his dad was totally down on gay people.
Wow. If you recall back to earlier, we discussed how predators like Kenneth will often use a minor's sexuality as a sort of insurance policy for their predation. Because the decoy has to be in the closet, lest he risk being thrown out by his father, Kenneth knows that means he would be less likely to come forward about being preyed upon. If the 14-year-old was sure they would be kicked out if they came out, they would view coming forward about any sort of sexual abuse to be dangerous. And Kenneth knows that, but he tries to say he wouldn't have done anything because he knows that, despite literally driving to the Sting house to have sex with the minor.
I mean, that's on gay people. That's what's in the law.
That didn't stop you from coming up to see him tonight, right? After all this sex conversation.
Well, he said that his parents were gone. You know, and he's telling me what he wants. You know, that he had this cousin relationship. You know, I've been there.
So that excited you?
No, I wasn't excited at all.
You wasn't?
Not in the way that you think I was.
How was you excited then?
I was just being friendly. I was not sexually excited about a 14-year-old. How in the hell can I be sexually excited personally about a 14-year-old?
I don't know. You tell me.
I can't be.
That's why you carry on these conversations with them.
Well, it was an online conversation, and I just seen it as I see that differently.
You didn't see no harm in it?
Not at the time, no.
You didn't see no psychological harm in talking to somebody posed as a 14-year-old and talking this way to them?
No. I mean, you see them in there all the time.
That makes it okay.
No.
Why did you talk about it in your chat log?
So the interview ends there, but Joey's TCAP channel's original upload has more footage of this arrest and booking. A link will be left in the description box down below should you want to watch it for yourself. Shortly after his arrest, Kenneth's wife would, of course, divorce him, and then he would lose his job. He would end up serving 8 months in jail, was told to pay a $1,500 fine, and was made to join the sex offenders registration for the next 10 years. If you've made it to this portion in the video, thank you for watching. As always, if there is a case you would like to see us cover, or a story you want to bring more attention to, you can email me at dreading.official@gmail.com. Have a great day, and remember, stay safe.